All right, let's dive in. Today we're talking about a really old, really powerful idea about leadership that, believe it or not, is making a comeback. It's a concept that can inspire people to do amazing things, but it can also be used to justify some pretty terrible stuff. So, what is this idea?
It all boils down to this one huge question. Are some leaders actually chosen by a higher power? I mean, is it possible that certain people are handpicked to be in charge? It's an idea that has literally built empires and torn them down for thousands of years.
So, to really get what's happening today, we've got to go back, way back. We need to unpack where this whole thing started. So what exactly is this mandate? Okay, so the concept itself comes from ancient Chinese philosophy, and the basic idea is pretty simple. Heaven, or some other higher power, gives a ruler the green light to rule. But, and this is the most important part, it is not a free pass. It comes with a massive responsibility to be a good, just leader for the people.
And this is where it gets really interesting when you break it down. First, you've got the divine choice. The ruler is chosen. Simple enough. Then, there's the sacred responsibility. They actually have to work for the good of everyone. And finally, the kicker. Divine accountability. If they fail, if they're cruel or incompetent, they can lose that mandate. It's like a cosmic system of checks and balances. At least, that's the theory.
Now, you're probably thinking, okay, that's all just ancient history, right? Well, not so fast. What's kind of wild is how this idea has been picked up, dusted off, and completely reimagined in a very, very different context today. The source we're digging into today points out a really surprising twist. It seems some fringe Christian movements have latched on to this philosophy. And they're not talking about ancient emperors. No, they're applying this divine mandate language to modern-day politics, to social causes, and even to their own personal lives. It's a massive leap.
So what is the appeal? Why is this idea so powerful for some people? Well, for those who believe in it, it offers this incredible positive vision. It's a way of feeling like your actions are part of some grand cosmic plan.
And this quote from the source just nails it. Think about it. If you believe you're acting on behalf of a higher power, it gives you a profound sense of purpose. It simplifies tough decisions, almost like a moral compass, and it can be a huge motivator to get out there and do things. You can almost see it like a chain reaction. It starts with this personal feeling of a divine calling. That feeling then creates a moral framework that guides your choices. And ideally, all of that leads to action that's aimed at helping other people, at serving the common good.
And here's where the rubber meets the road. The source notes that believers feel they have a mandate to fight what they see as major societal evils. And look at the range here. We're talking about issues as different as abortion, terrorism, and even climate change. This belief gives them a ton of clarity and an incredible amount of conviction.
And right here, this is where things take a very sharp turn. What happens when that absolute conviction, that sense of having God on your side, isn't balanced by, a little humility?
Because for all of its power to inspire, this idea has a very real, very dark side. When people are absolutely convinced they're acting with God's authority, things can get dangerous fast. I mean, just look at the contrast here. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. That guiding sense of purpose, it can easily curdle into pure arrogance. A clear moral framework can get twisted to justify authoritarianism, and that focus on the common good can be warped into a demand for blind, unconditional obedience.
So how does it go so wrong? Well, it often starts with someone basically appointing themselves, deciding on their own that they have this special mandate from God. That quickly leads to overconfidence, to ignoring your own flaws. And that's a slippery slope toward elitism, the belief that you and your group are just playing better than everyone else.
And let's be crystal clear, the source doesn't pull any punches on this. The ultimate risk here isn't just about individual arrogance. This way of thinking has been used to justify entire political systems built on oppression, authoritarianism, elitism, and in the worst cases, even fascism. This all leads us to the final and maybe the toughest piece of this puzzle. If a leader acting on a so-called divine mandate fails or commits horrible acts, who's held accountable?
I mean, really think about that for a second. When somebody claims they were just following God's orders, it creates a huge ethical mess. Where does the buck actually stop?
Is it the leader who made the final call? Is it the organization or the followers who enabled them because they also bought into the mission?
Or, and this is the most unsettling question of all, does the blame get pushed all the way to the top? Can a person just say, hey, don't blame me, I was just an agent of God's will?
In the end, the source material doesn't give us any easy answers. Instead, it leaves us with a serious warning. This whole concept of a divine mandate, ancient or modern, is like playing with fire. It requires us to be extremely cautious, to think critically, and to absolutely insist on real, human, moral accountability, no matter who claims they have a direct line to a higher power.
And so we end up with one last question for you to think about. That line between a noble purpose and a dangerous entitlement can be razor thin. The real challenge is figuring out when a divine right stops being a call to serve and starts becoming a blank check for power.